Let's take every single character from Hunter x Hunter and rank them from worst to best. We're gonna go ahead and leave the Succession War characters out so we can let Togashi cook, and we'll judge them fairly when everything's done and settled. But we'll still be using context up to chapter 400 to judge the characters that are on the tier list. This is gonna be the first person who, I won't lie to you, I had to look up his name. His name is Abagane. And this character is a character in Greed Island that we meet. He's one of the allies, I'm pretty sure, of the group that is trying to get all of the cards and bring them all together. The one group that has the bomber inside of it before the bomber just absolutely betrays everybody. He actually ends up getting a bomb on him, but his special ability is he's a Nen Exorcist, which basically allows him to quote-unquote exercise. We were just talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, which basically allows him to nullify or dispel, is probably a better word, any Nen ability that he gets placed with, or like some kind of curse. He has to create this like disgusting little Toji hidden inventory looking worm that basically just sucks the Nen out of him, which is probably the most ungodly experience you could ever imagine. And he's also the Nen Exorcist that gets recruited by Hisoka, that basically exercises Kurapika's chain on Chrollo and gives Chrollo his Nen ability back. So he's the reason that we got the amazing Hisoka vs. Chrollo fight that we did in the manga. So, you know what? I would normally give you NPC, honestly, because you're literally just a MacGuffin character. You exist to be a Nen Exorcist for Hisoka to exist in Greed Island to recruit. So like, and then you never show up again. But you know what? Just because you give us Hisoka vs. Chrollo, C, B. Do we think he gets a B character? Nah, he doesn't get a B character. He gets a C. Up next, we've got Nanaka. So I won't lie to you. I know a lot of people in my chat loved Nanaka and Aluka. I thought they think that she's an amazing character, and she's just this, you know. I like Aluka. I like Nanaka. I like their abilities. I think their abilities are, I mean, super OP. Absolutely insane. The whole wish dynamic is absolutely great. I won't lie to you. Aluka, Nanaka, the entire narrative surrounding it, the entire plot point being Killua's sister that's basically just locked behind like what 3-4 different vault doors, because the Zoldyck family refuses to allow that power to get into, one, the hands of anybody, or two, be abused by anybody, or three, accidentally misused to end up in the world just being destroyed because multiple people can die in exchange for a wish. Killua is thankfully the only person that knows how the Nen ability actually works. Everyone else just kind of fucks everything up into the point where it's like a bunch of people die. The Zoldyck family continually call the character he, even though it's a girl. At least from what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Don't patronize me if I'm wrong. But either way, I won't lie to you. I wasn't really moved too much. The arc was interesting for Killua to go through. It was great character development. It was a great way to get Gon saved. The entire dynamic of Killua trying to escape from Illumi was fun. And again, great Nen ability. But I don't really think they're that great. So, B character, B tier. Basho, that's his name. Kind of forgettable. I won't lie to you. I didn't remember his name. I didn't remember what his ability was. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh, we definitely see this in the manga. I haven't seen this yet because he's in the Succession War arc. And no, I saw it in chapter 68 of the manga. That's embarrassing. Yeah, forgettable. I don't even think I can raise him to the roof of NPC. He's a bodyguard with Kurapika in York New. He's also in Succession War, and Kurapika is just leagues cooler of a character than him. I really think the only other bodyguard that's worth a damn is Melody, and we'll get to Melody. We love Melody here. Melody, friend of the show. Up next, Beans. That's what his name is. Beans is like B tier. Beans is the same as Nanaka Aluka. Like, I like Beans. Beans is a cool character. Beans can do no wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. He's Beans to me is what everyone thinks Leorio is in the rest of the world. Beans is my Leorio character, where I'm like, you know what? Beans is just all right. Beans is just meant to do what Beans needs to do. He doesn't need to be any other character. Beans is cool. We like Mr. Beans. He is basically the assistant to Netero, if I'm not mistaken. He's one of the, top assistants in the Hunter Association, and he is the one that kind of takes over when it comes to the chairman election. Not takes over the Hunter Association, but helps run the chairman vote for the chairman election arc, and he is just a good guy overall. Now, up next is a character that I definitely do remember the name of, and that I definitely absolutely love more than anything. We've got Biscuit. Biscuit is honestly, I don't know if I would put Biscuit in S. I don't know if I would put Biscuit in S. I highly struggle. I love Biscuit. Biscuit is an awesome character. She's a great mentor. Her character design is cool. Like the way that she first comes off when she gets introduced into Greed Island as someone that's like, I'm gonna break up their friendship. That's the way I'm gonna have fun. And then like she meets Gon and Killua and sees like their potential and helps train them and develop their Nen to a level that they're able to fight really decently leveled hunters. Now, when they go into the Chimera Ant arc, they still weren't prepared for the threats that are going to be coming. But guess who's there to help train you? Fucking Biscuit. Biscuit's there to help train you again in the Chimera Ant arc. Biscuit is very cool. Every time she's in the scene, she steals the show for me. I absolutely love her as a character. I love that she can beat anyone's fucking ass at anyone's time if she needs to. She is just super cool. I really struggle to put her in S. I may put her in S later, but right now Biscuit's top of A for sure. She might get bumped up into S tier. She's one of the greatest mentor characters of all time. She makes a training arc very fun, and the way that she beats the bricks off that one guy when she first gets introduced into Greed Island, yeah, Biscuit is such a cool character. I love Biscuit. She trains Killua in her fucking Broly form. Super cool. Up next, we've got the Phantom Troupe member. Bonalov, I won't lie to you. I'm only gonna put in C tier. I might put him in B tier because his power is fucking crazy. Bro literally summons a planet. Yeah, and then he can summon like the warrior with the spear. I mean, yeah, bro's power is absolutely insane. But like I just don't think he's just not really a character though. So I gotta keep him in C. I won't lie, I gotta keep him in C. Up next, we've got the Dragon Zodiac, which I won't lie to you, NPC. He's only not in Trash Forgettable because the Zodiac has such a rememberable design. I don't care about him. A lot of the Zodiacs, I won't lie to you, are supposed to be these all amazing great hunters, and perhaps later in the series, as we move on, again, there's 28 chapters that I haven't seen, so potentially the Dragon Zodiac turns up in the 28 chapters that I haven't read. Somehow, I really believe that isn't the case. Maybe in the Dark Continent, if we do get to that point, it's possible that we'll see a lot of the Zodiacs get their time to shine in huge moments in the Dark Continent. So it's possible these guys can all get bumped up to an amazing level because again, they really haven't done much besides sit in chairs and talk shit and plan and dialogue and blah blah blah. But right now, NPC, again, not Trash or Forgettable because their designs are interesting, but yeah, Blaster, it literally just, I would say NPC for sure. He's got some interesting times. The whole moment with Hikago, we love him, barely does anything. Up next, Cheadle. I would probably say Cheadle is at least like a C tier character at best, like above Abengane because Cheadle does stuff. She is one of the only Zodiacs that does literally anything in the entire Chairman election, in the Succession War arc, everything like that. So you really can't say anything bad about Cheadle. She's a smart character. She does a lot of, she does her best when it comes to trying to work the election, even though you have huge players like Pariston and Jing kind of just running the scenes from behind. She does her best, Up next is Cheetu. Finally, we have Cheetu. Now, Cheetu, I think, is a cool character. I think he probably would rank B tier at best. I definitely wouldn't put him on the same level as like characters like Biscuit, but I enjoyed Cheetu's presence. He was kind of, I thought it was annoying when I was reading it. I'm like, why is this fucking annoying ass Chimera ant spending so much time in the story? Get him out of here. But you know what? Now that I had time for everything to just, settle and fizzle and really just mull in my mind, I like Cheetu. Cheetu has really good fights against Moral, like 2, almost 3 fights against Moral. He gets multiple different Nen abilities and comes up with all these different things on the fly just so he can beat his enemies. He has that cool scene where he just fucking zips through the bullets and fucking grabs the police officers' fucking fingertips from their fucking hands. It's crazy. I like Cheetu. He's a cool character. It's a shame he gets dusted by Silva at the very end of his life, but it is what it is. I mean, he would have died to Zeno if he didn't. It was over. We didn't have a chance. Phaeton. Phaeton is another, I would say, B tier character. I would rank Phaeton higher. I would probably put Phaeton at like low A. He hasn't left enough of an impression as a character on me, right? Like, I love Phaeton. Maybe he does have something to do because he does. The Phantom Troupe did show up in the last read through, so it's possible the Phantom Troupe does have a little bit more to say. I like Phaeton's design. It's cool. I like Phaeton's abilities the most. Phaeton's Nen abilities are some of the absolute coolest things that I've seen. And his fight against the Ant Queen is very cool. The way that he just like goes toe to toe with her, no problem. The fucking Pain Packer, like, that design is absolutely insane to me. And then he can basically just create an entire sun based off of how much you hit him or how much damage is done to him. It's insane. It's such a cool idea. Again, I would need to see more of his character. But as of right now, I'll probably put him in B. Oh, and then you got fucking this Dragonfly Chimera ant, who I would probably put in like low C tier. Fuck him. I mean, he's more annoying than anything. Flutter. His ability is just the idea of he has all the different dragonflies and he's basically just able to see through all the different dragonflies. He's a glorified security camera. He's always 24/7 playing Five Nights at Freddy's for his allies. That's pretty much his entire character. The only reason he's not an NPC is because he is in multiple moments. He does have a decent Nen ability. Another Phantom Troupe member. You have Franklin Bordeaux, who honestly, let's be real here. Franklin Bordeaux might be NPC here. What does he do? He fucking kills all of the people during York New with his little finger bullets, and then it just shows up and talks a couple times here or there. Does absolutely really nothing, in my honest opinion. Up next we have Genthru, which I really liked Genthru as a villain. I know a lot of people give him shit, but I really enjoyed Genthru as a character. I think Genthru is definitely A tier for me. He's the final villain of Greed Island. He's the big boss against Gon. His fight against Gon is probably one of the best fights that Gon has in the series, besides when he fights Hisoka. But more on Genthru, back to back with Genthru. His ability, in my opinion, is super cool, especially the focus that Togashi gives on his hands and everything. Genthru's whole character trying to work his way into winning the game of Greed Island, how sadistically he did it, and how him and his friends were willing to do anything, kill as many people as they needed to, as well as just, I think Genthru lied and hiding for like fucking years, trying to trick the alliance that he was in to get as many cards as he could from them. And he still almost wins at the very end. He almost wins. He ends up being one of the last people that Gon, Killua, and Biscuit are up against. And over potentially winning the game, Genthru chooses to save his friends that were with him through the end. So even as fucking cold-hearted as he was for trying to win the game of Greed Island and how many sacrifices he was willing to make to get there, at the end of the day, he still loved his homies, and I respect that. I think that's cool. So yeah, I think Genthru is an A. I give Genthru a lot more love than a lot of people normally do, which is fine for me. Up next, we've got Spinning Top Guy, all the way back from Heaven's Arena, Guido, who was, in my opinion, super cool. I liked Guido. Would I put him anything higher than a C? No, but I think Guido had flair. Guido was the guy who was very much introducing us to just the idea of what Nen was, all the way back when Gon and Killua were training in the Heaven's Arena after the Hunter exam. And the spinning tops, while not one of the greatest Nen abilities when you really look at some of the grand scheme of things, I think out of all the things to bring us, this and the cable guy were both super cool, just introductions to Nen, both just ground level fighters that would normally, be no problem for an expert hunter, but just show us the progression of Gon and Killua. So I enjoy it. Next, we have Jing. Jing Freaks, the fucking asshole who made Greed Island, Gon's father who left him, abandoned him, all of this stuff. Mean guy. We really only meet him at the very end of the series. We meet him during the chairman election arc when he only shows up because Netero died, which is crazy that he can show up for Netero's death but not his son's birthday. I digress. Jing is one of the worst fathers I've seen in my entire life in anime, and my father's not even around, so that should tell you something. But yeah, no, Jing sucks. I mean, Jing really wants to do everything that he can to accomplish his goals, be a hunter, go and hunt what has never been seen before, all at the cost of his family, his son, everyone around him. Is Jing written well? Sure. Is Jing a character that just steps in? Jing gets a lot more love in the Dark Continent portion of the story because you really see him step into Beyond's group that are going to the Dark Continent and just strip power away from Pariston very easily, which I do have to give him credit for. That section of the story is really cool. He does have a lot of great intelligence when it comes to just handling Pariston and handling everything like that. I genuinely do enjoy Jing as a character. Would I put Jing on a level of enjoyment as Biscuit or Genthru? No, I would probably put Jing B tier. Now we were talking about hot takes. Gon is on the chopping block next. No, Gon gets an A. I think Gon gets an A for sure. Low A. He's just a straightforward main character, you know? You can always kind of predict what he's going to do, and when Gon suddenly stops being predictable is when you should start being very, very worried. And I think that's a very interesting trait to go through. Yuji's another character that's very straightforward and just kind of gets things done, does what he needs to do. He's unapologetically himself. Shout out to Totally Not Mark for saying this originally. I remember he said this, but way back, I think during York New Arc, when they meet up with Zapil, whatever his name is, Zapelli or whatever. Yeah, Zapil. Gon goes, hey, I don't care how you make your money. If you can help us, then I think you're a good person. And it's just like Gon is just someone who is just so morally gray, and he just he is his father's son, where he's like, hey, you can help us? Sounds good. I don't care who you are. Hey, you're helping me right now. You're a good person to me. Sounds good. You have given me no reason to mistrust you. It's the same thing that we see with Mariolan and everything like that, where Gon is just such a because he's just spent most of his life on Whale Island with all the animals and everything. He's so just on a different wavelength from everyone. I will say though, adult Gon and his breakdown after Kite, while I think it was revolutionary, it was probably very crazy, just an insane moment in the story, kind of underwhelming for me overall. Maybe that's because after just getting vibes of what adult Gon was supposed to be and Gon's breakdown and all this stuff and getting it built up in my head, when I finally read through it, I was kind of like, meh. It's sad for him. It's very sad, and it's kind of like an oh shit crazy moment for him. I genuinely think it's one of the craziest fucking moments of the story. And I think it's a crazy moment for Gon, but when I compare it to some of my top tier moments in the story, nah. But it was a cool moment. I don't think it was the greatest moment of all time. But that's why I can't give Gon an S. Up next, we have one of the Zoldyck bodyguards, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Goto's the one. He does the little quarter trick here or there for us in the very, very beginning when we're meeting the Zoldyck family and trying to get Killua back after the Hunter exam. While he has very much loyalty for Killua, he's a nice guy. He absolutely gets dog walked by Hisoka. Just gets cut in the throat by cards, like Hisoka was Gambit. So I have to say, definitely NPC character. Definitely wouldn't put him on the same level as these characters in C. Definitely an NPC, not a forgettable character, not a trash character, but definitely just an NPC. Up next, we have Hanzo, and Hanzo I'll definitely put in C tier. Honestly, probably around Cheadle's level for sure. Hanzo is a fun character. We meet him all the way back in the Hunter exam. He's literally just a ninja Nen user. We're finally getting back into Hanzo's character now in Succession War. I just read the portion where he has, like, he can basically astral project his body and everything like that. So I'm sure he's got some potentially interesting more moments later on in Succession War. Up next is Hisoka, and yeah, I won't lie, everyone kind of already knows what's gonna happen here. Hisoka is definitely going to be our first S tier without a doubt. We stand Hisoka on this channel despite the allegations. We stick with Hisoka through it all despite the allegations. He's a character that you absolutely love to hate. But he is one of the poster childs of Hunter x Hunter. He's so memorable. Every time he's on screen, he steals the show. He has one of the coolest fights with Crollo, one of the coolest fights with Gon. Him helping out in the dodgeball game in Greed Island was amazing. We don't talk about the erection text bubble. We don't talk about the butt gazing and having to not walk behind Gon and Killua. We leave that out when we put Hisoka in S rank. Trust me. Ikalgo is super, super cool. I would definitely put him in B tier as well, right next to Gorenu as another good guy ally that we meet in the Chimera Ant arc. He's someone that sticks it out to the very end. He's a friend to the very end. I said that like twice, but Killua meets up with him. At first, Killua and Octopus Guy are fighting. They have a really intense fight, to be completely honest with you. And at the very last second, Ikalgo saves Killua because Killua shows him mercy, unlike anyone that has ever, shown him before. And Ikalgo's true humanity comes out. Ikalgo joins our squad. He's with us all the way up into the palace infiltration. He's with us trying to save Palm. He's with us trying to help us in he has some of his own dynamic and crazy thriller moments in the Chimera Ant invasion moment. He is really he gets an A tier character. He gets A tier for sure. Up next is Illumi, And you know what? To be honest with you, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one. Illumi top of C tier. Illumi. Why does everyone like Illumi? Can I ask that question? What does Illumi do that's so cool? What makes Illumi cool? Why do we like Illumi? It does not move me an ounce or an inch. Nothing about him, you know, strikes me as aura. He has that one moment when Hisoka makes the joke about killing Killua, and then Illumi has his like, I'm gonna fucking murder you moment, and Hisoka's like, don't worry, I'm just kidding. And like Illuma has like the, you know, the nails that can take people over and everything. But you know what? I don't think he's that special. All right, up next. Oh, Jonas or Yones, whatever the fuck however you pronounce it. Killua literally just one taps him. Garbage water, absolute trash. Build up for nothing. Boom, boom. Get the fuck out of here. Nothing to say about you, dude. You got your heart ripped out by a 9-year-old or a however old they are. It doesn't matter. You're done. Kite A tier. I like him just about as much as I like Gon. Kite is a character who, if everyone remembers the beginning of Manga Monday, I literally said is a trash character. Fuck Kite, piece of shit. And then I immediately turned around when we actually got introduced to Kite and met him. He's a cool character. His Nen ability is awesome. The fact that he reincarnated inside of a little girl, interesting, you know, choice of interesting choice of storytelling, but I digress. This isn't my story. And then up next, Kaluto, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this is the one that uses the paper Nen ability and everything like that. Kaluto doesn't do anything. They have that one fight in the Chimera Ant arc where they literally turn that one Chimera Ant into actual fucking... They kill that Chimera Ant with paper cuts. So sure, we'll give you C tier because I remember your fight. This is Castro. He has the doppelganger Nen ability all the way back in Heaven's Arena that challenges Hisoka, and he gets absolutely dusted by Hisoka. He's a great way to show us how Hisoka fights, some of Hisoka's abilities, and it's a great way for Killua and Gon to practice Gyo, I'm pretty sure, NPC character. Up next, Kikyo Zoldyck, Killua's mom, and I won't lie to you, she doesn't really do anything in the story whatsoever. I'm going to imagine that we're just going to go ahead and put this in trash forgettable. Literally does nothing. If she didn't birth Killua, then there would be nothing to really talk about. Now we've got Killua, the GOAT. Killua's an S tier for me. 110%. Killua is one of the coolest characters in Hunter x Hunter. I love his entire character as a whole. This just young boy that's grown up in the assassin world and has every reason to be a piece of shit. And even in the beginning of the story, we see him just as a piece of shit. But he's got Gon, this person that shows him the light and shows him to be a regular child and to have child wonder and joy and just be a regular 12-year-old kid for once in his life. And just the fight that Killua constantly has to go against his assassin instincts and even Illumi's brainwashing of all things, to just become the person that we know of today. And I obviously Killua in Godspeed, Killua in just all of the different Nen abilities that he comes up with, the yo-yos. All of his fights in the story are super cool. He even stands up to Yuppie. He stands up to Poof at the end of everything. I'm pretty sure he is undoubtedly the GOAT. Him and Gon are the perfect representation and one of the biggest origins of light that casts the shadow. The moon can only shine when the sun casts it with light. That whole dynamic. Up next, we've got Knuckle. Yeah, Knuckle top of B. Knuckle's a cool character. Bank-Aware is an insane Nen ability. Very complicated, but very insane. Other than that, Knuckle doesn't really accomplish much. I mean, sure, you can say he does his best for his friends. He wouldn't leave the palace until he got his last hit on Yuppie for shoot. He's a great, very loyal pal. Again, Bank-Aware is a very hacks ability, and the fact that Bank-Aware basically sets you up with debt Every time you get hit or just over time, you accumulate more debt, which means you lose more and more nen. And Knuckle training, Gon is a great character. Knuckles' love for dogs is a cool trait. I think Knuckles is fun. Up next, we've got Koala. Now, I won't lie to you. I wish we saw more of Koala. I can't really give him anything more than a C, though. I thought Koala was going to be one of the most badass Chimera ants. But he has a cool introduction and then never shows up ever again in the arc until the very end with Kite. I would put Komugi somewhere around here, somewhere around Jing level. Komugi is a cool character. I love the gimmick that she's just this like country bumpkin genius that is an absolute specialist when it comes to playing the one board game that she's a master at. And Meruem, Meruem falls in love with her. You could quote unquote say he does. Meruem just learns so much from her. She is the light that literally makes Meruem change his entire philosophy on everything. But yeah, I'll put her in B. And her ending with Meruem is very adorable, absolutely amazing. Love it. Up next is fucking Colt, and I won't lie to you, fuck Colt. I hate Colt. Although I know as a character he deserves to be an NPC. But this guy is just ugly. I can't believe he had so much screen time. He had so much plot importance. I mean, it's crazy to me. I want to put him in trash, but I know fuck Colt. Okay, he is a glorified NPC. Cortopi gets bottom of C. Cortopi does have a really cool Nen ability, especially when he uses it himself. In all the way back in York New, he literally makes like I think 40 to 50 foot tall buildings to confuse Killua and the people that are tracking them, so they can't. So the Phantom Troupe can't be found. He makes fake corpses to fool Kurapika, and his Nen ability is one of the main reasons that Chrollo is able to get such a huge advantage against Hisoka in their fight. So, while Cortopi I think is a forgettable character in general, I think his Nen ability is what puts him at C, which is why he'd be low C tier. Kurapika is definitely S tier. Kurapika is honestly my personal favorite quote-unquote main character besides Killua. Killua is clearly not the main protagonist, right? But there's so many arguments that Gon and Kurapika are like the dynamic duo, that Gon represents one side of Hunter x Hunter and Kurapika represents the other. That's why we go from Gon's story to Kurapika's story to Gon's story to Kurapika's story, which we're currently following in the Succession War as of right now, on his path to get the final set of Kurta eyes of his clan and achieve his life's mission of avenging his clan and receiving all 36 sets of eyes that were lost to him. He's got all of the eyes except for one pair that are owned by White Drake or Prince Suzy, whatever the fuck his name is. White Drake, we call him in Manga Monday. That's what we're calling him. If you know who we're talking about, you know who we're talking about. But Kurapika is a character who, despite Killua, who's a great comparison of a character who had a terrible upbringing and terrible background and backstory, and is able to, through Gon, receive a normal childhood. Kurapika constantly rejects that normal childhood that Gon offers him. Kurapika constantly avoids his friends at all turns as much as possible in order to get his revenge. Kurapika makes an entire Nen contract with himself that says, I will die if I use my Nen ability against anyone that isn't a Phantom Troupe member. In order to, one, get absolute revenge for the slaughter of his clan, but two, make sure that his Nen ability is strong enough to make up for the gap in experience he has with top class hunters like the Phantom Troupe. Kurapika's entire struggle and Kurapika's fight with Uvogin, the way that when Kurapika is on stage and is taking frontal perspective, the series becomes something else entirely. I think is something that's beautiful, and Togashi truly captures both sides of the coin perfectly. Yeah, he brought a shovel to the Uvogin fight, which is S tier, actions alone. But yeah, Kurapika, in my opinion, is definitely an S tier, without a doubt. This is going to be controversial, As much as I love his character, as much as I think his Nen ability is super cool, as much as his fight with the Zoldix is one of my favorite fights in the show, as much as his fight with Hisoka is one of my favorite fights in the show, overall, as a fucking character, I can only give you top of A, Chrollo. Chrollo Lucifer, your design is amazing. Your Nen ability is flawless. Your fighting style is impeccable. Your character is, in my opinion, lacking. And again, perhaps Chrollo's backstory could change that for me. I think characters like Killua, Hisoka, Kurapika outright just completely changed the game and are different characters entirely. Oh, by the way, Leorio, fucking trash, fucking forgettable. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do Leorio like that. But let's be honest here. Let's be completely honest here. Leorio C tier at best. Leorio, why do you guys like this character so much? I do not understand what is the deal with Leorio that is just so great about him. He's so forgettable. He's not in the story for half of it. He does nothing during Chimera Ant. He does nothing during Greed Island. The only thing he does during Chairman Election is somehow fucking fail upwards his way into a fucking high-ranking Zodiac position or assistant Zodiac position. What, if anything, that is just the perfect encapsulation of how countries today are not a meritocracy. This is the problem, that you can just walk your way in as a white man. I'm just kidding. You can just walk your way in somewhere and just become a high-ranking official here out of nowhere. What, you punch Jing? You punch Gon's dad? Great, good for you. Oh, you want to be a doctor? Good for you. What the fuck did you take the Hunter exam for, you dingus? Why are you here? Why do I care about you? What have you done this entire time? Your whole thing in the Hunter exam, you got acknowledged by Leorio. You got acknowledged by Hisoka because you were willing to stick it out. Cool, good for you. Okay, that's a cool moment. Sure. You've got Leorio. Then after that, he goes into the Trick Tower and fumbles Trick Tower to this girl. Literally could have won, but instead he'd rather touch some titties than fucking win and focus on the task at hand. L. Leorio's an L. Absolute L. He barely knew what Nen was. Barely, after becoming a hunter, he was just in the Succession War Chairman Election. Again, all he does is punches Jing, stand there and just yell into the microphone about how much we should care about Gon. You know what, Leorio? I thought you were a doctor. How about you go to the hospital and fucking save Gon, you fucking... What'd you do all that training in medical school for? Nothing, because you can't even save your friend. You know what? I'm slowly talking myself more and more into NPC trash forgettable status for Leorio. Like I literally what does this guy do, bro? He's C tier. And up next we have Machi, and you know what? I like Machi. I'd probably put Machi somewhere around like Phaeton's level for sure. Machi's a cool character. Machi has some of the funniest facial expressions in the entire anime. So cartoonish. One of the more memorable members of the Phantom Troupe for sure. Mary Lolan is very cool. Definitely gonna put him in a B tier, probably right next to Gorenu for sure. He is another just chill guy, cool guy character. Would absolutely just love to smoke some ganja reefer with Mariolan, but he does have one of the coolest Nen abilities of all time. So yeah, he's a solid support tier character. He's a great, duo character. He helps Killua out. He helps Knuckle out. Connection with Gon is great. I love him as a character. Yuppie, or as everyone so incorrectly pronounces him, Yuppie. Yuppie's a cool character. I'd probably put him right on the same level as like Korugi. Like he's a great royal guard. His fight with Knuckle, Shoot, and Killua, he survives for so long. He's so destructive. His rage ability is interesting, how he gains more and more power and learns to control his rage over time. The more he humanizes and the more he develops his personality, the less rage he gets, but the more controlled he can make his anger and powerful it becomes. He's a great royal guard. He's really cool. He serves his purpose. I enjoy him, but I probably wouldn't put him any higher than I would probably put Phaeton above him too. But he's a cool character. He's definitely B. Meruem, another S tier character. Do I even need to say it? I mean, Meruem is one of those villains that it just doesn't get made anymore. His characterization, his development from where he starts to where he ends is absolutely beautiful. I could have shed a tear at Meruem's end. The way he dies, the way he goes out after learning so much about the world and becoming a benevolent king that would have ruled graciously and rightly, all because he met someone that could match him in a world of people that sometimes so rightfully aren't worth living. He's the king that we didn't know we wanted, but he's the king that we needed. After his fight with Netero is iconic. After the Rose Bomb, he survives and becomes more powerful. His character arc is so rightfully written. Starting off as a homicidal maniac to just this layered, in-depth character that even when fighting Netero, this hunter that wants to kill him and will end his own life to kill him, he still sits down and is willing to forgive and end the fight and be like, hey, look, we don't have to do this. It's Netero has to stop himself from wanting to follow him as a ruler. He wasn't even a villain by the end. Yeah, like it's a shame that he had to die so soon. And ultimately, I'm pretty sure Togashi even confirms he's like the strongest character in Hunter x Hunter and always will be. And no one will ever reach his level of power, at least not including the Dark Continent. He didn't understand anyone, and then he understood everything. Yeah, his whole he is just peak character. There will never be another Meruem. His writing is just some of the best I've seen in years. Absolutely amazing. Next, we have Killua's fucking brother, NPC. I remember him. I don't think he's trash. He serves his purpose. He's a dirty weeb, a dirty Redditor. But yeah, just NPC character. Up next, if I'm not mistaken, don't crucify me, Aunt Mito. And I mean, I'll give Aunt Mito a C tier, sure. I mean, like, don't be mad at me. I'm being generous, giving her a C tier. She raised Gon. You know, she was always there. She's the GOAT. You know, she was the one who stayed. She's in the story like a couple times. She's a C tier for raising Gon. Other than that, that's about it. This is gonna be tough because I love Moral. I would probably put him top of A for sure. While Moral doesn't have like an insane backstory or like an insane, you know, reason to be doing what he's doing, Moral is one of the most fun characters. He's one of the most strongest hunters, veteran hunters that we see in the series. All of the fights that he gets into are peak against Cheetu, against Poof, against everyone that he fights, against Yuppie. He sticks it out to the end. Even at 30%, he fights the palace invasion. He is able to, he sticks around until the end. He gets so many votes to be the president of the Hunters Association during the chairman election. Moral has so many great moments. He fights to the very fucking end of the Chimera Ant arc. No matter the odds, whether he's about to die, he is literally one of my favorite hunters that shows up out of the Chimera Ant, and I can't stress enough how much I love Moral. I love Moral more than Biscuit. I would love to just hang out with Moral. Moral's my type of guy, and he stands on motherfucking business. He took out Leorio too. Moral took out so many fucking Chimera Ants. Up next, we have Pito, and it's no lie, Pito is one of my favorite. Pito's top of A for me. Pito is my favorite Royal Guard. one of my favorite characters in Hunter x Hunter. I can't explain it. Pito's got aura. You know what I mean? Like Pito, from the moment Pito is on screen, Pito is fucking terrifying. They're one of the most terrifying villains. Their net abilities are absolutely insane. The way that they use their specialist net abilities, Terpsichora, Dr. Blythe to literally almost revive people, or basically like it's just the whole situation with Pito trying to jump in on Netero and like seeing everything in seconds, and then like I was so sad to see Pito get trounced by Adult Gon, and even then, even decapitated Nen after death, Pito was still struggling. I love Pito. I thought Pito was one of the greatest characters in the Chimera Ant arc. I love them so much. Super fun. Again, just the manga panel of them holding Kite's head. Up next is Neon. Neon is, I mean, yeah, C tier at best, just like Cortapi in York New. Neon has the fortune telling Nen ability that everyone is after, and Chrollo wants to see his future. She wants the, you know, the Kurta eyes in York New, which is why Kurapika is her bodyguard for the Nostrad family. She's the, you know, daughter of the Nostrad family boss. Other than having a cool Nen ability, she doesn't really have much of a character. Honestly, yeah, you're right. I'd probably put her at NPC, to be fair. Up next is Netero, and Netero is a god tier fucking character. I love Netero so fucking much. Netero's whole entire story of just loving punching so fucking much. He just kept punching and is getting faster at punching and faster at punching and faster at punching. He took on the Dark Continent. He has one of the most revolutionary fights against Meruem. His whole entire fucking shtick is just crazy. He starts off as your average pervy old man in the beginning of Hunter x Hunter, but he really sticks the landing in Chimera Ant as being a fucking goat ass fucking boss man. As chairman of the Hunter Association, he'll never be replaced equally. Yeah, super cool character. Love Netero, and he went out like a fucking G. All right, up next we've got Nobunaga. And I won't lie to you, Nobunaga is probably like top of C for me. He's really not that cool. He's not that great of a member of the Phantom Troupe. He's got the original simple domain with his like fucking quick draw Nen ability, but Pineapple Head is just very forgettable. I could care less about Nobunaga. Up next is Nav, and like Nav, bro, I gotta give you bottom of C, dog. Nav smelt one hint of Shia Poof's aura and like disintegrated as a character. Literally, like I'd put him right next to Leorio, just fumbler, just a member of the cast that does nothing but just make me angry. Like, why were you here? Why were you such just a loser? Like, you felt the aura and you immediately lost all your hair and said, nah, I'm backing out of the mission. I can't do this, guys. Good luck, everyone. What? His Nen ability is insane. The whole portals into different portals. He's got like 48 or whatever layers, or it's I don't know. I'm probably exaggerating, but his Nen ability is insane. That he can set up doors to his dimension, like, and house people inside of it. Crazy. Other than that, trash of a character. I don't respect his game. Up next is Pokunada. I know everyone has their feelings about Paku. Everyone loves Paku so much for the sacrifice that Paku took to help Chrollo get their Nen back, and basically just, you know, the whole York New ending entirely, and just how much trust she has in the Phantom Troupe and what she was willing to do for the Phantom Troupe. C tier. Next, we've got Palm Siberia, and like, Honestly, I would put you right next to Knuckle because I won't lie to you. Palm significantly levels up for me when she becomes hybrid Chimera Ant. She becomes a fucking boss. Yeah, put her on a watch list. Yeah, she would definitely get along with Mei Mei and Hisoka for more reasons than one. She also is fucking crazy frizzy hair lady who is willing to kill 12-year-olds over a bet. When she becomes a Chimera Ant, she becomes a badass who's able to fight Killua and make Killua, you know, get put on the back foot. And her Nen ability also levels up significantly now that she has the crystal in her head. Up next, we have Periston. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, Periston. Periston, I would probably put in B+. Periston is a character who is just a conniving, weaselly little shit who fits his rat zodiac so well. I like Periston for the same reason I like Jing, and because Jing and Periston and their intellectual battles that they have between each other are very much enjoyable for me. Yeah, I gotta raise Jing up to Periston's level because him and Jing bounce off of each other so well. Their level of enjoyment, especially again, like I said, in the Succession War, when they are in Beyond's group and they're like fighting for control, and Periston has like that fucking attitude where he's like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, but he actually does care a lot. Then yeah, I think it's very telling, his intellectual know-how, how manipulative he is. At the end of the day, he ends up winning the chairman election after fucking gunning and manipulating and just steer rotting everything in the direction, and then gives it up and gives it to Cheadle at the end. Said, yeah, I just wanted to win, but yeah, you know what, you can have it, I've got my own plans. Crazy. Next, we have another Chimera Ant, Peggy, C-tier character. He went too soon, RIP. His death was sad for me. He was just the nice guy who had all the information, you know what I mean? And that was crazy to me. So I think he gets a C-tier because his death gave me a reaction. Up next is Finks. I would probably put Finks right next to Nobunaga. Finks has grown on me a little bit more over time since he plays a little bit more of like a lead role in the Phantom Troupe after York knew. But Finks has not really moved me much at all, in my honest opinion. He's got like the fucking windmill, my arm around, my punches get stronger, which is a pretty cool Nen ability. I'll give him that. But other than that, Finks is just kind of lame. Up next, we've got Pakal, I'm pretty sure is his name. And you know what? He's got like the arrow Nen ability. Honestly, NPC, pretty forgettable. I'm going to put him in C tier for the same reason I put the Penguin in C tier, because the way bro goes out is one of the most tragic, saddest, and just honest to God, just disheartening deaths of all time. Like, genuinely, the way this guy gets taken out by the Chimera Ants, where like his brain literally gets fucking probed for information. We get the panel of him, his skull is literally taken off and they're just like in his brain getting him to reveal his information. We've got Razor up next. Razor is a pretty cool character. I would put him, you know, right around Goranu's level. Razor is a really great antagonist. He's definitely not a villain, but he's a great antagonist in Greed Island. The whole dodgeball sequence was a revolutionary sequence, honestly, in my opinion. Razor as a character, meh. The entire dodgeball sequence as a whole, god tier. One of the greatest times I've ever had reading a shonen manga, honestly, and reading something that wasn't a fight. The dodgeball sequence was one of the coolest moments of Greed Island, and I will love that to the day I die, right? That will never change. Melody joins the other fucking B+ characters. I love Melody. Definitely B+. Melody is a great girl all around best girl in Hunter x Hunter for sure. She's just a sweetheart. Her whole Nen ability is being able to just hear things that no one can hear. She can literally just hear and feel people's heartbeats and emotions all around her. She's constantly surrounded by everyone's feelings and emotions, and constantly has to deal with all of that and just be able to just like I love Melody. She's such a great friend for Kurapika to lean on, despite Kurapika sometimes, you know, leaning over the edge of being a fucking psychopath, you know what I mean? Like, as for her goofy ass fucking character design, she shines through as having one of the most, you know, memorable personalities, and just, you know, I like her as a character. Up next we have Shiapoof, and I'll be honest, Shiapoof is a well-written villain, but fuck Shiapoof. All my homies hate Shiapoof. Shiapoof is annoying. Didn't want Meruem to become his true self. He was trying to hold him back. Everything that Poof does is fucking garbage water. He's very well written as a piece of shit. But I don't even think he's really that well written as a piece of shit. Like, I think characters that are well written as a piece of shit are like Genthru. I would not put Shiapoof on the same level as fucking Genthru by any means. His fight with Moral's okay. His whole thing is just, I hate Shiapoof. All of his character makes great sense, yes, but all of his character is trash. As one of the royal guards, he's my least favorite royal guard. He cares more about his own ambitions and making sure Meruem stays to what he thinks Meruem should stay as, than just defaulting to following what his king's orders are and what his king wants, like Pito did. Pito was willing to go whatever route that Meruem went and would follow Meruem to the end, and Yuppie probably would have done the same. Poof is a fucking dirty ass liar. Shalnark. Okay, I won't lie to you. Okay, Shalnark is up with Phaeton for me. Shalnark's Nen ability, his manipulation black phone, is fucking insane. He can just poke you with the antenna and then you're completely his. One and done, you're over with. When I'm talking about a one-hit kill technique. And then he can control you to do whatever you want and more. And then when he pokes himself, he becomes a fucking Super Saiyan. Yeah. Rest in peace, Shalnark. Robbed. Absolutely robbed. So he didn't deserve to get killed and fucking hung up to feed the crows by Hisoka. That was insane. And I think Shalnark is just cool. He's got a fun personality. I think he's a cool Phantom Troupe member. And again, if I'm ranking Phantom Troupe members by just coolness overall, definitely goes right below Phaeton for sure. Shizuku, I'm gonna get the heat for this. I would, honestly, I would put Shizuku an NPC. But I'll put Shizuku in low C tier because so I don't get crucified to death. Shizuku, I don't think there's anything special about Shizuku. She's literally, she has no personality. She's got no expressions. I understand that is her whole gimmick where she's supposed to be expressionless. Everyone loves her. Why? Because in her only fight, in the one big fight that she has, her clothes come off in. That is my hot take right there. That's the only reason why people like Shizuku. Her Nen ability is not even that great. She's got a vacuum and she sucks. She really doesn't even have that great of a design. Like, it's just, she's really lame. We've got Shoot, B tier, because Shoot does go out like an MVP against Yuppie. He fucking fights to the fucking last breath for sure until he's getting fucked up. While I think his character is a little lackluster, I think his whole anxiety bit is just whatever. Relatable, but whatever. He doesn't move me, but his moment against Yuppie is enough for me to push him up to B tier for sure. Up next, we've got Silva Zoldyck. Silva's in B+. He's got aura. He is super powerful. Every time he's on screen, he steals the show. He's a lot of fun. But he's an asshole. His whole, patriarch over the Zoldyck clan is kind of trash, the way that he treats his children. Except the ones that he likes, of course. But yeah, other than that though, like, Silva doesn't really have much of a character. if we were to get an arc like that focuses specifically on Silva, and learn a lot about him as a person and how he became the way he was, his upbringing with Zeno, stuff like that, I would love that. I would love to learn more about him. And that would be enough to put Silva in like an A tier, because other than that, Silva's got mad aura, super cool. I've got nothing bad that I can say about him other than the fact that I don't have much to say about him. I would put him in A just off aura alone and just design and cool shit, and just the place he holds is the head of the Zoldyck family, but he has no character, so he stays B. He stays B plus. Up next is one of the Zoldyck's bodyguards. It's the older lady who turns into the fucking motorcycle. I think she gets C tier just because of that. She literally gets C tier because she turns into a fucking motorcycle. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I would honestly put her in NPC if that wasn't the case. Up next, we have Uvogan. And honestly, the Phantom Troupe doesn't really match Uvogan's level. His fight with Kurapika is so much fun. I absolutely enjoy every moment of it. He really sets a standard for the rest of the Phantom Troupe that none of them really come close to meeting in York New. Like it's just like Kurapika versus Uvogan is one of my favorite fights in the entire series, and it's an unforgettable moment. His whole personality, his Nen type is being an enhancer, so he's just super fucking strong. The fact that he gets fucking poisoned and has to drink all the beer to clear out the fucking parasites. I mean, like that, some of the craziest things of all time when he wrecked all of the fucking shadow beasts. Yeah, he beat all the fucking mafia members. Crazy shit. Oh, early Hunter x Hunter. What I would do to go back. We have fucking Welfin, who is literally the sole reason that none of us die in the end of the Chimera Ant arc, and Meruem remembers who he is at the very last moment. But I remember him as Yapper Wolf, Mr. fucking Intrusive Thought 9000, overthinking everything in the possibility of that could ever happen. And this guy is literally what Doctor Strange did in Marvel Infinity War, but just in real time. Like when Doctor Strange searched every single reality and timeline to potentially find a way to beat Thanos, like that's what Welfin was doing at every given moment, but Doctor Strange was sped up. God, the amount of dialogue that this one fucking wolf NPC had. However, he is his Nen ability is also trash. He has to like ask someone a question or whatever to shoot them with a missile. Ikalgo fucking gets one over on him. Yeah, Welfin is Garbo, trash, you know, Chimera Ant. But right before he dies, he utters Komugi's name, and revitalizes Meruem, and catches up his memories to where he gains his original personality back, and Poof, all my homies fucking hate Poof, fails in having the homicidal maniac king, and we get the benevolent king Meruem that we deserve. Up next is Wing, and I won't lie to you guys, despite being the original Nen tutor, Wing's just a C tier. I would honestly be willing to put Wing in NPC. Bro's got no drip. Bro did not want to teach Gon and Killua the sauce until the very last moment, and just watches from home while everyone else does everything. I mean, again, I'm willing to give him C tier because he's more relevant than the NPCs. He teaches Gon and Killua Nen. He's jump starts their Nen abilities, gives them the leaf test, and does everything he can to prepare them for Heaven's Arena, quote unquote everything he can, and then honestly, when I think of Gon and Killua's mentors, I think of Biscuit, not fucking Wing. Biscuit trained Wing, for God's sake. C tier character at best, because he's the Nen exposition character. But Biscuit is the true mentor. Zeno Zoldyck goes right next to his son, Silva, in the B plus tier, simply for the exact same reason. Pure Aura is in one of the coolest fights against Crollo. They both are the reason that Cheetu gets fucking absolutely destroyed. But yeah, Zeno, same as Silva, pure aura, I love Zeno as a character. I just don't think there's enough character there, right? Like the fact that he dips out on Netero when he's like, yeah, this is more than I signed up for. I did what I came to do. Peace out. Good luck. And then just walks away is just funny. Like he lives and dies by that Assassin's Creed. He said, I'm doing what I get paid for, and that's it. Nothing above. I don't do overtime. But yeah, Zeno is super cool, but he's all aura. He would be an A-tier character like Silva if we got like a Zoldyck background arc and learned so much more about all of them. But even though we did get a Zoldyck family arc, we didn't really learn too much about them. And then last but not least is Wing student Zushi, who, I mean, should just go right next to Wing. Honestly, he's just a Nen user in training, who think is a little bit younger than Killua. And while Killua and God don't know Nen, he's terrifying. Once they do learn Nen, he completely gets power cliffed and just he becomes irrelevant in the story. Wing and Zushi are only C tier because they serve their purpose very well in just being introductions to Nen. But with that being said, the Hunter x Hunter character tier list is complete.